back, ladies, to another episode of Dream, Heal, Thrive. I'm Monet Farcole, and today we're giving ourselves permission to dream big and pursue those dreams without any guilt or apology. Sis, if you've felt like you had to shrink your ambitions to make other people comfortable, then this episode is for you.
Yes, I cannot wait. And I'm your co-host, Charisse Reed. And today we're diving into how to reclaim your right to dream. That's right, your right to dream. Shed the societal guilt and embrace your biggest ambitions unapologetically. It's time to stop playing small, step into the bold, brilliant life you desire.
Yes, I love that. Stop playing small. We cannot afford to do this with the boldness of our biggest dreams this year in 2025. Okay, so to start out the discussion, let's discuss how do we recognize the barriers to dreaming big? What are some of those barriers? Certainly, societal expectations and the typical gender roles comes into play. From a young age, many women are just taught to prioritize others instead of themselves. And it's such a disservice to not only each of us as women, but to the world, because then we don't get to do the work that we were put here to do. We play small instead.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And when you say we talk about from a young age, we're taught to take care of the family, set the table, wash the clothes, keep the house in order. We become the little moms of the house. So we're conditioned to take care of everyone else and not think about ourselves. And that becomes a layer over layer, and it turns into a daily habit. And you think 40 years later, we're still trying to unpeel those layers just to find ourselves.
Yeah. And it's interesting too, because, we're just conditioned, like you were saying, to basically to play small and to not really pursue things. And, it's also interesting because, when we do that, we're just, really taking care of our community, we're taking care of our businesses, we're taking care of our community, our loved ones, everything and everybody before us.
Yeah.
And that just is a very unhealthy message, I think, to say.
Yeah.
And, there is some statistics out there. I like to add a little, analytical side to my little nerdy side. So 42% of women, well, nearly 42% of women feel the need to prioritize caregiving responsibilities over any career aspirations. And that's compared to just 28% of men who feel that way. So that's a big difference.
Wow, that is huge. And and I know it's because of the societal expectations of what society puts on us. Women are supposed to do this and put us in this bag where we're supposed to be the nurturers. We're supposed to make sure everybody is okay. We're supposed to care for people. But where does that leave us? And it causes a lot of issues as we go on, and your family grows up, or you become into a career. You go into a career that you really love, but you're prioritizing everything and everybody else. Guess what happens? You start feeling that.
Yes, yes. And so, as because we're not taught to exercise that side of us, right? And part of it is that I think as women, we do tend to be naturally caregivers, and that's fine for us to express that and be able to hold space for that. But we also have to be able to hold space for another side of us. But often when we try to do that, we're labeled as selfish or too ambitious or, just being too much.
Yeah, yeah. Or even that B word that we don't like. You're
Yes.
being too aggressive, you're being this, and it's sad, but when you do choose to step out and do some of the things that you want to do for yourself, you are put, these labels are put on you, and it allows you to, well, it makes you internally just shut down and say, you know what, well, I guess I'm not going to do it, because now you're feeling guilty about wanting to do something for yourself. So you just say, forget it. I'm not going to do it at all. And it's sad that we have allowed society to beat us up because of those labels, and it makes us retreat.
Yeah. Yeah, and we carry around that guilt, just holding it in. And how many times have you caught yourself just downplaying your goals because you didn't want to seem ungrateful or greedy or too much? We do that so many times as we look back in our lives, especially as we have children and we're active in our communities, or even as we start to care for our parents. It's never ending. It's never ending.
It's never ending, and you feel so bad to want to do something for yourself that you dim your light.
Hmm.
That's one of the reasons why we're here, because we don't want you to feel that way anymore. We want you to realize that we don't want you to be, feel selfish and have that guilt over your head because you want to choose something for yourself. Because at the end of the day, guess what? We can all have what we want and still be that nurturing person.
Right. We don't have to choose one or the other. We can do
Right.
both. We just have to learn how to hold space for our ambition. We're not naturally pushed in that direction a lot of times. Even if our families nurture it, society just squashes it so often.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the thing is if we would be our biggest, boldest self, it's like a ripple effect in our communities, right? Because when women pursue their bold dreams, we tend to inspire other people to do the same.
Oh yes. And it's like the energy, the synergy in the room.
Hmm.
Like when I had my event this weekend, one of the things that I learned is that the women in the room, you could tell how the energy was just bouncing around. And even the ones who were very shy and withdrawn, they were being inspired by what the other women were saying. And they were feeling better about wanting to step into being bold about their dreams and really stepping into like, wow, I can really do this. It does make a difference of, being around others and that ripple effect that it causes, because it helps you want to step into what you really want to do and not feel so bad about it.
Yeah. And like you were saying, that is really a big part of why we do this show. We want to inspire other women to live their boldest, biggest dreams and to heal their hearts however they need to heal so that they can thrive, because we know the effect that women have on, our communities and the world at large. We're
Yeah.
much more powerful than we ever give ourselves the credit for.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
And it just, that support of each other, that's where that nurturing spirit comes from. And when
Mhm.
you put all the women in the room together, we can't help but to inspire each other.
Right. And we were put here for a purpose. We
Mm.
weren't put here to just take care of other people and to put all of our dreams aside. Now, if your dream happens to be in the care of other people, that's different. But putting your dreams aside in order to care for other people and make what they need more important than what you need, then that's not necessarily living out your purpose. And so dreaming big isn't selfish. It's actually essential for us to live our fullest and most authentic lives. Like I said, if we were put here with a purpose and we don't live out that purpose, then we go to our graves not having done the work we were put here to do. Who could you have served? Whose life could you have touched? Who could you have affected if you had actually done what was in your heart to do?
Absolutely. When I think about, how women think dreaming is being selfish, it almost breaks my heart, because, that's one way of pouring into yourself, is thinking, what is it that I can do? What is it that I love to do? What is my purpose? And knowing that your purpose and your dream is big, and the impact you can make on other people, man, to go to your grave with that just makes my heart so sad, because so many women do, they give to everybody else so much that they're in their 60s or 70s and they just feel like, okay, it's just too late for me, I'm just going to go ahead and just leave here. And one of the things I know for myself, when I was peeling back the layers and learning how to dream bigger and stepping more into my dream, I said to myself, I want more on my tombstone than she was a good wife, she was a good mom, she was a good grandmother. I wanted more than that. So I tapped into that because I was just like, I don't want to die with this dream in my heart. Because even to think, like I said, to think about that is just so sad that you have all this purpose and all these things to give within yourself that's all about you, and you just don't step into it.
Yeah. And like you said, it's never too late. It is never too late. There are so many stories of women who have restarted later in life and who have made a huge impact. So we are here today to inspire you and to give you permission to just do what is on your heart, ladies. Please, it is time for us to break the cycle.
Yes.
Cycle today.
Yes. Today, we are not backing down any longer. We are stepping into our dreams and making sure those dreams come to life and become a reality. No more fearful. We're going to step into it because that's what it's about. That's what we're about. This is what we're doing this for, is to help you see that your dreams are important and you need to show the world just that.
Yeah. So, we always like to give you some practical information so that you can walk away with something to be able to take action. So one of the things is to identify the source of your guilt. If you are feeling guilty about pursuing your dreams and not always being available to everyone who's pouring at you, then, identify what is the source of this guilt that I'm feeling. Is it some external expectation of those that are around me, of society at large, or, some belief that I have, or is it your inner critic, right? Inner critic, oh, she has got to be stopped in her tracks. But at least you identify that that's what it is, then you can start to take some steps. And we always have some advice to help with that. We'll probably have a whole episode just on that
Yes.
little, B word lady.
Yes.
That inner critic. She got to go. She got to go.
Girl, yes, because that's that voice, that nagging voice that you carry around in your purse and you carry around in your bag, and the one that keeps telling you that you're not good enough, but you have it. And just look at that, we love to give stats, of course. We see that approximately 75% of executive women report experiencing imposter syndrome at some point. Wow. 75%.
That's huge.
And when I saw that number, I was like, I knew it was going to be big, but I didn't know it was going to be that big. I didn't know it was that big. And it rings volumes because we are conditioned to do for everybody else, that even at a young age, that we didn't even have time to form an opinion of who we are and what we want, because we were taught to take care of so-and-so. And so we fall into that hat. And then, okay, do this. And you put on that hat. So you never have the opportunity to learn who you are authentically. So you don't know who you are. So every time the next thing comes on, it's easy for you to fall into that imposter syndrome because you don't know who you are, because you haven't given yourself time to realize that.
Yeah. And to think that there are 75% of executive women out there who are still playing small in some ways, because when you have imposter syndrome, there's no way you can show up as your completely largest, boldest self, right? So they're probably playing small. Imagine if they were to feel, empowered to be exactly who they were put here to do exactly what they were put here to do, to say exactly what they were put here to say. Imagine what we could accomplish,
And I think a lot of it, they hide behind the degrees and being very educated. And that's very important, especially if you have goals that align with that. But when you get all those degrees, are you getting them for yourself? Are you getting because that's what your parents expected from you? Because I find that, when women tap into who they really are, a lot of them leave corporate and they do businesses that are totally different from what they have, the degrees and all the letters behind their name. They're doing something totally different because that was never their passion. That was something that was expected of them. And so they played that role. And so they had the imposter syndrome all they liked because they were told they need to do this. They were told they needed to go to college. They needed to become this. They needed to do this. And once they tapped into who they really were and we're comfortable with that and then align with their passion and their purpose, they're doing something totally different.
Yeah. I mean, imagine what it would be to sit down with our daughters and say, what is your biggest dream? What is your biggest dream in life? And, what can we do to explore that for you and how you can make that
Oh,
happen for yourself? Like really dream the biggest dream. My dad was like, you're good in math and I think you should get a degree in computer systems. Okay, Dad, sure, I'll do that. You'll make lots of money. Okay, Dad.
exactly. And you end up not even liking it because parents, and they do it, they don't do it intentionally, but they like, okay, well, let me, they just learning teaching what they were. But it's like, are we letting our children live and pour into them what their gift is, or are we trying to live vicariously through them and say, okay, well, I see they like this, and I didn't get an opportunity, so I'm gonna. So we have to be careful with that.
We just want to keep them safe. And safe is not always the best thing. Like we talked last time about Ian Van Zant saying, if you're not living your life with just a little bit of pee drizzling down that leg, you are not living your fullest life. So, but one thing that we can do to have more of a mindset shift around that is to really reframe the guilt and whatever that inner critic might be saying as a sign that you're actually stepping outside of your comfort zone and societal norms, which is where our growth happens. So that's a good thing. It's some indication that you're stretching yourself, right? You're stretching yourself beyond what's comfortable.
Yeah, and and when we talk about stretching ourselves, it's also when we're writing our goals down, or we're thinking about the things we want to do. If your dreams are not scaring you, and I know everybody has heard this, but it's so true. If your dreams are not scaring you just a little bit, then they're not big enough. You're still trying to play it too safe.
Yep.
Think outside of the box. Don't think about what others expect of you or how you think others think it should look. This is your dream. This is your purpose. This is your passion. So think outside, think big, think huge, because those are the things that are going to push you and direct you and align you with who you really are. And then you won't be afraid to play small once you tap into that.
Yeah, and like I think it was our first episode that we talked about, having a vision and having those affirmations that keep you in alignment. It really helps me every morning when I revisit that. I look at my vision board. I look at, my vision, what I've written out for my vision for my life. And it excites me. It gets me up and it pushes me to do things that, like we were just saying, they aren't always comfortable. So if you don't have your own affirmation around this particular topic, then maybe you can use this one. But I always say, if this doesn't work for you and it doesn't excite you, find a similar affirmation that really you feel excited inside about. So one we'd like to suggest is, I am worthy of my dreams and I don't need anyone's permission to pursue them. I am worthy of my dreams and I don't need anyone's permission to pursue them.
And that is so powerful because it gives acknowledgement, but it's all yours. It's not about anybody else's. It's all about you. And one thing I do want you to remember is being selfish is not a bad thing. We have put this undertone of it's bad. When you just think about yourself, you're being selfish. But if you don't think about yourself first and make sure you're good first, you can't be good for anyone else if you're not great for yourself.
What's that? The oxygen mask? You got to put it on yourself first before you can help anyone else?
Right. I can't save you if I can't save myself first. So yes, this is a powerful affirmation. I love it.
Yeah. So how do we reclaim our right to dream? So one thing we can do is just start allowing yourself to dream freely. No filters, no limits. Like really sit with yourself and I'll just allow yourself to dream your biggest dream. Don't nobody have to know about it but you, right? You don't have to share it.
You versus you.
At least sit with yourself and dream your biggest dream.
Yeah. And another way is writing down your boldest goals, even if they scare you. It's supposed to scare you, because then you'll say, wow, I know I can do it. But you have to write it down so you can see it. It's always a good thing to have things that you can go back to, like your vision board or, your affirmations, but writing it down puts it in motion.
Yeah. And then we've talked about the people around us before, but it's so important that you surround yourself with people who support you and support your dream. So you want to find the people who actually celebrate your ambitions. They don't diminish them. They really celebrate them with you. It's critical, because if you're around people who don't really get it, who don't see it for you, they're like, okay, that's not someone you want to share your dreams with. It's
Yeah.
not to say you have to leave them alone, you never deal with them again. They might
Right.
be family, but it's not someone you want to really share your dreams with. But you need to find some people that you can feel supported in your dreams. You need to find your tribe.
Yes, definitely. And then the final thing is taking small steps towards your dream daily. Even the boldest dreams are built one step at a time. So you don't have to build what they say, Rome in one night or one day. You can take small things. So taking your vision board and taking one thing off that vision board and say, okay, today, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to drink more water. So add things on. You don't have to do it all at once.
I
But
wouldn't suggest it, actually.
right, right, having an action plan and putting those things in motion will let you know that I'm doing something daily that's gonna get me closer and closer to my dreams. And you don't have to do things that are big and over the top, just little small steps every day.
And what you said is exactly right. Have that action plan. And we've said that before too. It's not good enough to just have this dream with no plan to execute it. So like Charisse said, you take small steps, but it's important to start figuring out what are some of the steps you do need to take to get you moving towards your dream. So it's always good to have examples, right? Of others doing what it is that you want to do, because then it gives us proof, right? Sometimes it's really good to just have the proof that you know what, this can be done. And so we have some examples of some women who have dared to dream and have succeeded. So you've heard me talk about Iyanla Vanzant, and she is a woman that I have looked to see where she's come from and all the things that she has endured. And she has endured a lot. I do grief work, and having lost her daughter, and there's a lot that she's endured in grief, divorce, failed business, all types of things. And she still rises, and she still has been able to heal and move forward and transform her life to now be the person that runs and does and performs not performs, but she is the author and the person who runs Iyanla Fix My Life. And I'm I'm sure that it took work for her to do that. And I'm sure she had that inner critic in her head. And I'm sure she had naysayers, but she kept moving forward. And to just see that trajectory for her has been beautiful. And also to see the bumps in the road, right? Because if you see someone who was just made, it was just easy for them, and it's kind of hard to identify for me personally. Who just have to overcome any obstacles, but seeing all the obstacles that she has encountered and moved past has been very inspirational to me.
Very, very resilient. One of the ladies that I love so much, and I followed her for years, it's Kathy Hughes. And she's one of the first Black women to own a media company, Urban One. I know we've all heard of it. I love her story so much of resilience and standing up for what she believed in, but it was also her passion and where she came from and how she started at the bottom and she learned all the different aspects of that industry in order for her to be a powerhouse and be able to sit in the boardrooms with people who didn't look like her, the male counterparts, and be able to hold her own because this was her dream. This was what she wanted to do. And so she didn't back down, but she also stepped into her dream. A lot of people would have thought her dream was too big. You know, you're going to own what? You're going to own a radio station, whatever. A woman's never done that, and especially a Black woman. But for her, it was more than that. She wanted the platform for more Black people to be able to express their voice and their vision. So she knew her dream was bigger than just her. It was about the impact. And I love the resilience. She didn't back down. She didn't stop. She didn't care how much of a struggle it would have been and all the hurdles she had to jump and go through. She stuck by it and she went right through it, and she got to where she wanted to be and even more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And one more, Tracy Ellis Ross. I love her style. I love her wit. I think, she's like a modern day Lucille Ball to me. I think loved her comedic timing, but we know her from Blackish and then also Girlfriends. In her fee, she launched her beauty brand Pattern, which focuses on hair care for curly and textured hair. And, it's just a beautiful example of, again, starting later in life, something brand new, right? She's a producer, an actress, an entrepreneur now, right? She didn't let herself just be boxed into this one hole. Because that's the other thing, right? You have one big dream. Okay, so you get there. Keep dreaming, because you never know. Look is her name Tabitha Brown, I think?
Yes.
She didn't stop at one thing. I think she's now going to have a movie and all kinds of things now. So you just never know where going after that one dream can lead you into all these different areas and all these beautiful experiences that you can have in life.
And it's never too late. We talked about it before, but even Vera Wang.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the store yesterday and I saw a blouse. I was just like, whoo, I love her clothes. Her fashion sense is awesome. And, it just shows she didn't start her clothing line, her brand until she was in her 50s. So it just lets you know it's never too late to dream. Your dreams stop when you're in the grave.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're trying to avoid that. We want you to
right.
come to life now. So you can see those things, so you can see all the things that you wanted to do happen.
There was this comic that I saw many years ago, and so it was like these older ladies on a baseball field. And so the older woman, she's got gray hair and everything, and she's like sliding into home. I want to be that woman. Like, that's the end of my life. I'm just sliding into home base.
Yes.
Everything I can jam packed into this life. Yes, absolutely. And we just want to make sure that we dream big, and dreaming big is not just for certain people. It's for all of us. It is for every single one of us. We were all put here to serve purpose and to make the world a better place. And God knows we need it right now. So,
and one of the things that, we're going to touch more on this as we go down, because I think boundaries have different layers to it and different facets of how you need to set boundaries. But when you're dreaming big and bold, you have to set those boundaries, because you're going to have to learn how to say no to people. And it's going to be uncomfortable at first, because again, we are conditioned to care for other people and how they feel and if they're comfortable. And being selfish is saying, I'm going to do this for me, and I'm going to say no to that. And it's okay. It's okay to say no to others and to say yes to your dream.
Yeah. And I really think that boundaries has been one of the, most critical lessons that we can learn in our lives, because it really helps us with our relationships. It helps us to protect ourselves, to be able to do the things that we want to and need to do. Boundaries are so important, and I'm sure that Charisse and I will be doing an episode just on that, because it really is a huge lesson, because it does not come natural. It doesn't come natural to set boundaries, especially with the people that we love, but it is necessary. It's necessary for you, and it's necessary for them.
Yeah. And it keeps us safe.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we like to end with a challenge so that you can take what we talk about and put it into action. So this week, we want you to reflect on one big dream you've been holding back on. We want you to write it down, share it with someone you trust, and then take one small step toward making it happen. Permission granted, sis.
Yes. And after you've done that, we want you to share your journey with us. Use the hashtag Dream, Heal, Thrive so we can hold space for you and celebrate your courage together.
So, as always, if this episode resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share it with a friend. Remember, your dreams are valid, your ambitions are powerful, and the world needs you. We need you to show up fully, boldly. We need you to show up big.
And as always, dream big, heal deeply, and thrive boldly. See you soon. Bye.